I have a lot of PlayStation exclusive platinums, God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, all of the Uncharted's, and more. But there is one that I don't have. The one that is most divisive and polarizing games of all time. And that game is... Death Stranding might be the most divided game ever if we aren't discussing The Last of Us Part 2, because we all know how that one goes. Death Stranding is often viewed as a walking simulator, but it is far more than that. With a breathtaking world that spans across the entire USA, connecting facilities to rebuild the US. And a story that is so unique, it's weird. No, like honestly, we might need to stop letting Kojima cook. There are only 2 steps to get this platinum. Step 1, complete the main story and grab all the miscellaneous trophies I get while completing it. And step 2, clean up all the collectibles and other trophies. I actually had played Death Stranding back in 2022 and grabbed 2 trophies, but quit due to the game being boring and too weird. But now in 2025, I will be attaining the platinum for Death Stranding. The game starts off with our main character, Sam Porter Bridges, as he traverses his way to deliver some packages. As he travels over the landscape, he crashes his bike and destroys it. Taking shelter inside the cave, we get introduced to 2 gameplay mechanics, BTs and Timefall. BTs are the main enemies in this game apart from humans, and they require you to sneak past them to not get seen, but later on in the game, we will get BT weapons, so. And the Timefall just rain, but with a twist that whenever it touches your cargo, equipment, or vehicles, it destroys them and they become unusable. While inside this cave, we get a visit from Fragile, who tells us that if available, we can work for a company instead of Bridges, and then she teleports away. Classic Kojima and his random fuckery. And that finally ends the 14-minute cutscene. Yeah, I'm not kidding. To put in perspective, the opening for God of War 2018 is only 9 minutes long, and that is a long opening. And this isn't even the longest cutscene in the game. This shit gets beaten multiple times. Nah, you're the one, Kojima. Anyway, we can now get into the gameplay and start delivering packages. Our first order needed us to travel to Central Knot City and deliver this medicine. Literally not even 5 minutes into controlling the character, I ran off this cliff and died. Or so I thought. Apparently Sam is a repatriate, so that means he can't die and he can just respawn where he died. But with the help of a baby? I still have no clue about this whole baby thing here, but whatever. You just learn to stop questioning things. Making my way through the landscape, I made it to the Central Knot City where I delivered my first package. That also ended the prologue section and brought us into an in-between period between chapters where I met with Igor, a member of the corpse disposal team, and he needs us to dispose of this body so it doesn't blow up and destroy the city. On the way to the incinerator, we get jumped by some BTs and flip over the car. So the driver gets massacred by some BTs and we get introduced to the main villain, Higgs. And he spawns some more BTs that take Igor and probably kill him as well, but not before he throws us his BB to save it. With both of them being killed, we get to see a void out in person. After reviving ourselves, we get into our first of many cutscenes with Cliff, and we learn that the BB that we now have in our possession is his biological baby, but more on him later. After waking up from the flashback, we see the damage that has been done to Central Knot City.
Once there was an explosion.
At the start of the next chapter, we meet up with the President of the US, Bridget Strand. We learn that she is the mother of Sam, well, adoptive mother, and that before she dies, she wants Sam to rebuild America and restore order after the Death Stranding. Speaking of before she dies, not even 10 minutes later, she crawls out of her bed and approaches Sam to speak to him, but she dies before being able to finish. So yeah, our next mission is to deliver the President's body to the incinerator to prevent a void out. This right here is the point in which I quit back in 2022. From here on out, I had no clue what to expect, and boy am I glad I didn't quit. This mission is really where the game opens up for the first time since the open world is now free to explore. On my way towards the incinerator is my first player structure and gave it a like for a trophy. After using ladders, ropes, and just plain old climbing, I made it to the incinerator and burned the President's body. While leaving, we get into our first real introduction to BTs. And in the earlier stages of the game, to sneak past them using the BB. The BB is able to detect and see the BTs and allows you to sneak past them. Arriving back at Capital Knot City, we submit the delivery at the terminal and get the Chapter 1 trophy. Entering our private room, we get into a cutscene with our sister. After finishing the cutscene, it started. Chapter 2 started off with a long cutscene between us, Die Hardman, and Amelie. They basically try gaslighting Sam into the mission from the president to rebuild America, and save Amelie from her captors out west, and make her president and carries on British mission, yada yada yada. With our mission now set, we begin our journey to rebuild America. Right after leaving the private room, I began my journey, and the first thing I did was place down a sign, cause why not, and got a trophy for doing so. With that free trophy out of the way, I started my journey to my first prepper. Arriving at the location, I talked with the guy at the station who took the goods and gave me enough likes to connect the facility to the UCA, and with that, the first facility was entered into the UCA. Only 39 more to go. The rest of the day, I did deliveries to increase relationships with all the facilities in the area and continue the story. While doing this, I made a delivery back at the way station and got a trophy for reaching grade 10 in a delivery evaluation category. These stats unlock new abilities as you upgrade them, like the ability to hold more cargo or have better balance. Death Stranding also has a lot of equipment like boots that you can wear. As you traverse the landscape, your boots begin to deteriorate. After all the walking I've done so far, my boots were starting to deteriorate, so I changed them out with some new ones and got a trophy as well. Not gonna lie, it's a complete accident. My boots were completely fine before, but you know. After I connected another facility to the UCA, I got a visit from Deadman inside my private room. He begins telling me that the BB needs to rest every once in a while inside of a private room to stop the BB from passing out. And if he does pass out, BTs can no longer be seen by Sam. Deadman then leaves and we get a visit from Amelie out west.
Can you see me?
How are things over there?
Still not chained up. Still can't leave. But if you can keep making connections, if you can get to me, we can go back east, back home.
After leaving the private room and setting back out my journey, I ran over the sign and got a like from BB and a trophy. Not even 3 minutes later, while exploring a mule site, I accidentally pressed the touchpad and got a trophy for shouting and having it returned. So, Death Stranding isn't a full-blown multiplayer game, but has multiplayer elements, like the shouting mechanic where another player has to shout back in their game, or being able to use other player structures in your world. Returning back to the prepper after looting the mule outpost, I delivered the goods and got 5 trophies in very quick succession. The first was for collecting my first piece of customization data for use on structures, vehicles, and even the player. The second was right after I reached 3 stars in this facility. Later on, I would need a 5-star and collect all facilities at UCA for 2 trophies. The third and fourth both popped after I learned about the donation and recycling features. Donation allow you to ask and send goods to other players. So if you need some metal for a structure or a road, you can ask another player for some or vice versa. So I sent some resins to another player and got the trophy. And recycling is pretty straightforward. You can recycle gear to turn it into materials or insert materials to be able to store them at that facility. So I did just that. I recycled some Chiral crystals for a mission and got the trophy for doing so. After completing said mission, I upgraded my bridge link to level 1 and got the trophy. Now every bridge link upgrade allows you to see more player structures and make more strand contracts with them. Now I know I'm explaining a lot of stuff right here and it's probably boring, but the game is so dense, so in order to understand the stuff later on in the video, I need to do this or you're going to be even more confused than I was. In order to progress the story forward, we need to connect another facility to the UCA, and that facility happened to be the wind farm. There are a lot of preppers in this game that suck to get to, but I think this might be top 2 and not even 2. The area to get there is one massive wooded area that is filled with BTs and nearly impossible to sneak a car through. So you either have to sneak past all the BTs on foot or try and speed past them. I tried my luck of being on foot and actually made it to the prepper and delivered the goods. After leaving to head back and grab some more orders, I decided to pee right outside the prepper and got a trophy for it. Also outside the prepper, I got my first memory chip. When I returned back to the distribution center, I gave it to the center and got a trophy for doing so. I also got a trophy right after this for completing my first standard order. Standard orders are just miscellaneous orders that can be completed any time to upgrade the connection level with preppers. Later on, for multiple trophies, I'm going to have to do a lot of these. With no big story beats happening for a while, I just kept continuing to do standard and story orders to buy time. While doing this, I ended up doing so many orders that I earned enough likes to get the 2400 total likes trophy. After completing every other story order, I headed back to Capital Knot City and I got offered an order that would take me to Port Knot City, the last main facility in the east. But in order to travel there, we will need to sneak past a packed BT zone on a rocky mountain. To make my journey somewhat easier, I finally got introduced my first BT weapon, the Hematic Grenade. These grenades, and I'm not kidding, are filled with Sam's blood and pee.
What?
Apparently his blood and pee have special ingredients since these are patchy that can harm BTs when hit with them. The only downside of these grenades and all BT weapons is that when used, they drain Sam's health with every use. The only way to stop this is to carry blood bags and weapons will drain from those instead. Arriving at the BT area, I didn't even get that far in before I was jumped by a BT and started my actual first BT mini boss fight. So and I'm talking every time you get caught by a BT and fail to outrun them, you have to start one of these mini BT boss fights. Now these fights aren't hard at all when you have the weapons in order to take them out, but if you don't, it is literally impossible to kill them, let alone harm them. Now in some of these BT fights, the game will spawn weapons to use from other players, but sometimes they don't. Now, I don't know what the requirements are for these to spawn because not every fight spawns these, so for the ones that don't spawn, I had to restart the checkpoint. After defeating the BT mini boss, I finally made it over the hill and to Port Knot City. Inside of Port Knot, I delivered the goods, took a shower, slept, and then exited outside and got jumped by Higgs. This boss fight is pretty much exactly the same as the BT mini boss I just killed not even 10 minutes earlier. The only thing that changed with this one is that it had more health. So I'm not going to sit here and waste time in this fight. Trust me, there are a lot more later on. Ending the boss fight also got me the Chapter 2 trophy. We take a boat ride with Fragile across the sea and arrive in the west. Arriving at Lake Knot City, we get a lore debrief from Die Hardman about the Void House that happened here, and it reminds us of our mission to save Amelie. Now this is actually where the game opens up, since the west is a massive area filled with 32 facilities that need to connect to UCA and 5-star. For close to 2 hours, I just explored this area doing delivery after delivery. There was little to no story involved here, so I can't even explain anything. My first trophy in this area did come when I was exploring and I ran into a mule camp to loot it. Now I only had really bad weapons, but I still somehow took out all the mules and popped the trophy for clearing a path for the porters. Now with me being injured from that fight, I rested and slept and got another trophy for healing while sleeping. The west also has another cool feature to traverse the map and roads. Now in order to build these roads, you need to collect materials from across the map. After I collected enough materials, I returned to Lake Knot City and submitted them into the autopaver and built a road and got the trophy. For the next 3 hours, I didn't get any trophies or story beats, just more grinding. And this is exactly why people say this game is a walking simulator with a story. And sure, I guess you can say that, but with me personally, I only like this game for the gameplay and the world. The story is low-key mid. Yes, come at me in the comments. Anyway, I did get one cutscene near the end of the 3 hours when I got a visit from Fragile. It basically explains who Higgs is and our history with him. Okay, here's a little lore recap of this cutscene. About a year ago, Higgs and his gang hacked Fragile's company and gaslit her into secretly selling guns and weapons. And also, Higgs basically snuck an old school nuke into one of her packages, and she accidentally stuck it in the middle of Knot City and blew it up. So that's why she wants to defeat Higgs. Oh, and also, before we even started the conversation with Fragile, I entered the private room and saw this. A little bit after that, I unlocked a new feature in the Autobots. Now these robots are honestly useless. You can send them out on standard orders and they will complete it for you after some time, but it doesn't matter if delivery is close or far. They are delivering the goods damaged and with a C rating. But when my first bot did finish the delivery, I got a trophy for it. Another day later, while still in chapter 3, I got the trophy Well Traveled for traveling 80 kilometers and completing an order. This is pretty much unmissable since it tallies up totally throughout the game. In order to end the chapter, we need to complete one more delivery from Lake Knot City to South Knot City. These were just normal goods like building materials, clothing, etc. Before being able to leave, we get a visit from one of the bridges workers who says one of the packages wasn't labeled correctly and just give it to us instead. Now, what was in that package, you say? A nuke.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Now the goal here was to bring the nuke to Fragile so we can devise a plan to get rid of it. But apparently I wasn't listening to the dialogue and I brought it straight to South Knot City and the nuke blew up and destroyed the city, and I failed the mission. If you didn't think I was already dumb, I blew up South Knot City 4 more times until I had to Google what I need to do in order to progress further. So finally I went to Fragile and we learned that the bridges workers that gave us the nuke was in fact Higgs. I totally didn't know that even before he gave us the nuke. Our plan to get rid of the nuke was to throw it into the tar pit near South Knot City so it could be contained and not destroy anything around it. So that's exactly what I did, and I threw a nuke into the tar and saved the city. The nuke now out of the way, I can actually deliver the provisions and end the episode and get the episode 3 trophy. After exiting the distro center, we get sucked into a massive storm and get transported to World War I. So, do you remember Cliff, the guy that I mentioned earlier? Well, episode 4 takes place in the trenches of World War I where we're tasked with taking down Cliff in a boss fight. Basically, Cliff wants BB and will do anything to get him. In order to defeat him, you have to first take out his 4 goons and then take him out. This certain loop has to be done multiple times until he drops over and ends the fight. This is definitely a moment in the game, apart from the nuke plot twist, that actually had me hooked in the story a little bit. It's kind of feeling like Call of Duty or Battlefield and not Death Stranding, if you know what I mean. After defeating Cliff, I ended the episode and got the episode 4 trophy. The next 3 trophies I got were all episode related ones for completing episodes 5, 6, and 7. After exiting the storm, we head over to Mama's lab to have a talk with her and start. We learn that Mama can't leave her lab due to her being tied to her baby BT with an umbilical cord. She also says she believes that we got transported to a world between worlds, and that's where the World War I section took place. The whole goal of this chapter is to connect more facilities to UCA and meet Mama's sister in Mountain Knot City. I also unlocked zip lines in this chapter as well. These are actual game changers that make travel not as awful, especially in the mountain area of the map. This chapter, along with every other chapter, just order after order, it's not really much to script. But I did meet a lot of preppers along the way, like this one at the Disho Center near Mountain Knot. You wanna tell me this isn't Joe Russo? Like, I was shocked for a second, but apparently it's not. I mean, there are also a lot of more cameos in this game too. Herman Holst, Conan O'Brien, Sam Lake, Jeff Keighley, etc. Kojima is just messing around at this point. With all the story orders complete, we head back to Mama's lab, and she decides it's finally time to let her baby head to the other side and cut her free. In order to do so, she gives us a new tool in the cutter that can cut through umbilical cords on BTs, and can also one-shot BTs if used right, but for story purposes, we use it on our baby first to free it. Alma can now leave her lab, and we head over to the twin sister at Mountain Knot City. This mission to deliver Mama was probably the worst one so far. It was the same as delivering the president, but I had actual vehicles, but the only issue is where we had to take her: the mountains. The mountains were surrounded by water and enemies everywhere on the path. I probably had to reset the mission over 3 times due to her falling in the water. I did eventually bring her to Mountain Knot City and get a heartfelt cutscene between the sisters, where at the end, Mama dies and her soul is combined with Lockney's and they become one. So yeah, basically Mama died in that terrorist attack that killed her baby, and after separating the two, she was basically dead already. Heading down to our pirate room, we get a visit from Deadman and start. Deadman has a working theory about Die Hardman and how he is not who he seems to be, and wants to learn more about that. Now, we don't really learn too much about this in this chapter since it all ends pretty fast. Since, after traveling up to this cabin in the mountains where Deadman is, we encounter another storm and get sucked into it. Instead of World War I, we are now in World War II, and we had to fight Cliff again in. Instead of being stuck in the trenches, we were roaming around in a European city. This fight was exactly the same as the last one, and we need to take down Cliff and his goons 4 times to end the fight. With Cliff defeated, he tried to take us down but failed, and we stole his dog tag and ended the episode and got the episode 7 trophy, BB. Before we get started the next episode, we had an order to do, and that order is to bring Mama's body to Hartman's lab. This was even worse than the first Mama order, since Hartman's lab is deep in the mountains behind Mountain Knot City. And without zip lines, it takes forever to hike through the snow. On my way towards the lab, I placed down zip lines in my path so I can make traveling back and forth easier. Arriving at Hartman's lab, I finished the delivery and got the trophy for getting a total of 50,000 likes. Now, with delivery complete, we enter into his lab and get a face-to-face with Hartman.
You know your heart stops beating.
It stops every 21 minutes. I spend 3 minutes on the beach, and then return. 60 deaths and 60 resurrections per day. A body that doesn't necrotize. No sign of decomposition. It's as if she were still alive.
So for the rest of the chapter, nothing crazy happens with the story, so I just continue to build a mountain zipline network and complete orders to connect facilities in the area. During one of these orders, I had to collect some cargo inside a BT zone. While sneaking past the BTs, I thought it'd be a great idea to use the cord cutter that Mama just gave us. So I snuck up right to a BT and cut the umbilical cord and got a trophy for doing so. Last order in the episode needed us to deliver some materials to the relay so we could contact and reach Amelie out west. Once I made it to the relay, I delivered the goods and got the episode 8 trophy. In order to make it to Enjoi Knot City, we needed to cross the tar belt. Now, just like the nuke situation earlier, I had no clue how to cross this. I tried everything, driving through it, jumping through it, walking through it, but nothing worked. So I had to Google what you need to do, and in order to make it across the tar belt, you need to get dragged by a BT. So I did just that and started the mini boss fight. Now, you don't even have to fight the BT, and you're probably not supposed to. All you need to do is parkour on these roofs and make it to Amelie and cross to Enjoi Knot City. Enjoi Knot City isn't like the other parts of the map. It's super small and filled with BTs. In order to even make it to where Amelie is, you have to cross through a destroyed town filled with these BT jellyfish that will attack you whenever you come near them. But to be honest, I'd rather come across these than the regular BTs, since you can just run right past them, because if you get caught by them, you don't get stuck in an unskippable boss fight. Inside of Enjoi Knot, we connected to the UCA and enter our private room and get jumped by Higgs. Time for another Higgs boss fight, but this time it is against Amelie and one of those void out creatures from earlier on in the game. This fight generally wasn't hard since the game spawns a dumb amount of weapons like RPGs and quad launchers and makes the fight 10 times easier. The boss really only has one main move and it's spawning hundreds of jellyfish that swarm you. In order to damage it, you can just shoot it or use glowing red balls onto umbilical cord with any weapon. Dude, what is this game? I can't believe it's a real sentence. And so I did defeat the boss and watched the sunrise on a grateful universe. Oh wait, wrong line. I watched the boss disintegrate into the wind. With Higgs escaping with Amelie, we head back to his beach to finish the job. This final boss fight with Higgs has some high stakes since if one of them dies, they are dead forever. No repatriates. The fight itself wasn't even a full-blown boss fight like the earlier ones in the game, but a fight similar to the David fight in The Last of Us. In order to defeat Higgs, you have to run around and hide until there's a chance to sneak up behind him and take him down. Now, if you use a cargo around the map to distract him, it's much easier, but I didn't know about this until like 15 minutes in after failing a couple times. You can also hit him with the cargo or just throw it directly at him, and then punch him to end the wave. You have to do this around 5 to 6 times between both phases in order to defeat him. Now, in the first phase, he has a gun, so you can't just rush him, but the second phase, he doesn't, so you can just rush him with your fists and beat him up. After finishing both phases and Higgs being defeated, he drags us into the tar pit to have one last fight for all the marbles. Before leaving the beach, we get an aura showdown between Dar Hardman, Bridget, and Cliff. What we learned from this showdown is that Bridget and Amelie are the same person, and Bridget only looks older since she's a physical version of them. Also, Dar Hardman is the one who killed Cliff in the hospital during all of the flashbacks, and the showdown ends with Cliff coming after us for his BB. The goal of episode 10 is to make it back to Capital Knot City to reunite with everyone since Fragile can't jump us there. The whole drive back, we were driving through a storm and getting phone calls from Dead Man.
I'm over here stroking. I got lotion on my.
Back at Lake Knot City, we get jumped again by another storm and get sucked back into the void of Cliff's Beach and end episode 10 and get the trophy. Since there are no world wars left, this time we fought Cliff in the Vietnam War. Kojima actually cooked these war locations. They felt completely different from the rest of the game, with look and the tone of them. After taking down Cliff for the last time, we get one last conversation with him.
Baby, we're getting out of here. I promise. Give me back my baby. Are you clear of hunger? They told me your name was Sam Porter, but you were Sam Bridges, my bridge to the future. Sam, you bring people together. You're their bridge to the future.
Episode 12 was similar to episode 10 as we needed to make it back to Capital Knot City. On my way back, I submitted a reply request for a container repair spray at a distro center and got a trophy for doing so, since it was my first time. Right before getting back to Capital Knot City, we get jumped by a BT and started the final main boss fight. This was by far the best BT boss in the game since it had different movesets and didn't just stand still. This flying whale just flew around the sky and made for an easy target to shoot my quad launcher. With the BT gone, made it into Capital Knot City and entered and got the Chapter 12 trophy. With everyone together, we came up with a plan to stop another extinction by stopping Amelie. To help a Fragile, she jumps Sam onto Amelie's beach and starts. Waking up on her beach, we meet up with Amelie and have one final talk.
You're too late. What took you so long?
Your voice.
You still don't know who I am, do you? Sam. I knew you'd come back. I love you, Sam.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach. You were supposed to stop me. Stop all of this. I'm sorry, Sam. Amelie and Bridget are both a part of me.
But even with me paying attention, I still did not know what to do, so I ended up shooting her multiple times and failing the mission multiple times. But after realizing, I walked up to her and gave her a hug, had the last heart-to-heart with the sun in the background to stop the extinction from happening. With the extinction avoided, we get pushed away and are now stuck on our beach for forever, where the credits play. These credits lasted over 10 to 15 minutes until Sam gets dragged back into the real world by Deadman. So, our last order needed us to take our BB to the incinerator and destroy it, since it no longer works. Since Sam and Lou have bonded so much that they are being connected to the living world and can't serve the same purpose as before. At the incinerator, Sam decides not to burn Lou, but take him out of the pod and make them live as an actual baby. Now, with BB saved, we get one last flashback with Cliff to clear up any lingering questions.
What are you doing here? My wife's checked in.
The president gave me the highest level access privileges. I've used them to manipulate the security system. We have 5 minutes before it resets, sir. Take BB and get out of this place. Freeze! Hey, put it down! Drop it! Put it down! Get up! Don't do it!
Don't worry. I'll always be with you. Be free.
Oh my god.
I need you to hand it over.
Shoot him, John. I gave you an order. Shoot him.
You told me your name was Sam Porter, my son. My bridge to the future.
With the game now over, we get entered into Episode 15 is free mode, so I can do stage 2 in the cleanup. With still having 21 trophies left, I started off by going for the grindiest trophies in the game. Birth of a Legend, Growth of a Legend, and Sam We Trust, and Best Beloved. I got trophies during this grind, but these were the main ones I went for first. The first trophy I got for delivering a total of 3,000 kilograms of cargo. Now, I wasn't recording for this, but thank God I have PS auto recording for this trophy pop. Death Stranding has a cool feature in mail. Every prepper you meet, or just every person in the game, will send mail, like a text message, after something happens, or if they're bored, I guess. So for the trophy, the post guides the present, I need to read 100 mail. Now you can just click on and off of them, so it's only took me a few seconds since I already had some read and got the trophy. My 44th trophy was actually related to the 4 I explained earlier, and it was for completing 36 standard orders. This came after grinding hard standard orders to get my S rank orders up for Growth of a Legend. Now 3 days later, yes, 3 days later, I got my next trophy in Birth of a Legend. I didn't expect this cleanup to take longer than the main story, but it is what it is. For this trophy, you need to complete 10 standard orders in each livery category with an S rank or higher. For example, each order you select has an icon that shows what order it is. The 4 categories are time, condition, volume, and miscellaneous, all with different orders for each one. Condition and volume are the easiest since they require orders and spawn fairly regularly, but the other 2 don't spawn as often and require more skill to complete. Also, in your bridge link, you can track how much you've completed, so it makes it a little easier, but I didn't know this was a thing until days in, but whatever. My last order was from Hartman's to Mountain Knot City, and it was a timed order. Used my zipline network and put it this super quickly, and got the S rank and the trophy. Around 2 hours later, I was going through and clearing all the notification icons, and in the process, wrote 100 interviews for another trophy. Another stat that the game tracks is total items delivered. So while grinding, I finished an order and delivered a total of 700 items of cargo and got a trophy. Another feature of Death Stranding is wandering porters. These are just random NPCs that you can come across that allow you to trade with them. But in order to trade with them, you have to drop an item in front of them and they will pick it up and give us an item back. After doing this successfully, I got a trophy for trading with a porter. get back to the main task at hand and completing S tier deliveries. So for Birth of a Legend, I had to complete 40 S rank deliveries, but for Growth of a Legend, I have to do 80 S rank deliveries. So that means 10 more orders in each of the 4 categories I mentioned earlier. I easily breezed past the first 2 categories, but the last 2, I struggle with again. Miscellaneous orders are annoyingly hard since most of them require you to grab and bring back some cargo inside of BT zones. Self-explanatory. Time orders aren't even necessarily hard, but they rarely spawn, and when they do, some of them have stupid paths you need to take, like scaling this mountain with a truck. And with these car mechanics, yeah, controllers almost broke. But with hours more of grinding, I finally finished my last delivery and got my last S rank and the trophy, Growth of a Legend. By Kojima, why? Less than an hour later, I got another trophy after I visited Higgs' home. Now you can just visit his house, and it's right next to Late Knock City, and I even at the 5 Stars house later on for that other trophy too. If you're gonna play Red Dead Redemption 2, you'll know that your horse has a connection level that when leveled up, you can unlock more abilities with your horse, and that exact same features in Death Stranding, but no, not with a horse, with BB. By just making deliveries and walking with BB, he would continue to build a bond with Sam, and by reaching max connection, I got a trophy. With 2 out of the 4 main trophies completed, I moved on to the last 2. The first one I got was protecting all facilities at the UCA. This trophy and the next one took me over a week to get. I've done some long platinum like Dying Light 2, Red Dead 2, GTA 5, Valhalla, etc. But this facility grind might be one of the worst things I've done yet. I also bundled a 5-star trophy for this one, and ordered a 5-star facility. You need to complete around 10 orders per facility depending on the light count. The reason this took so long is because of finding orders to do and finding the preppers to deliver to. Some of these facilities, like the first prepper, who's on top of this remote mountaintop, are so hard to find even using a guide. And my idiot self didn't know that there was another feature that will show you what orders are available for that facility. So instead of using that feature for multiple days, I would just go around from facility to facility hoping that they get orders from me. So that's why it took me so long to complete. But once I found out this feature, I finally connected all the facilities to the UCA, and 27 minutes later, I completed my last delivery back where it all started in the east, and 5-starred my last facility and got the Best Beloved trophy. With only 9 trophies left, I started speedrunning them to finish the platinum. The first one I got for taking a hot spring bath. This is similar to the hot springs in Ghost of Tsushima, but I only had to sit in it 1 time, so it was a free trophy. The next one was for building one of each structure in the game. During the story, I already built 8 out of the 13 structures, so I just started building, and I built a cargo catapult, a timefall shelter, a watchtower, jump ramp, and finally a chiral bridge, and popped the trophy. The next trophy I got is for fabricating all equipment in the game. Now this took me forever because I ran out of materials to craft, and I lost track of all the ones I crafted. Until I found out about another feature that showed you which items I've already crafted, and after finding that feature out, I crafted the rest of the equipment and got the trophy. Remember that tar lake from chapter 3 when we threw the nuke in it? Well, for my next trophy, I needed to travel to the junk dealer prepper and take his decontaminated cargo and throw it into the tar lake for the first time and get a trophy. My next trophy is another structure trophy. I need to fully upgrade all of the structures. All I needed was some materials. I went around and upgraded all the structures I already built and got the trophy. For the trophy Great Deliverer, I needed to reach level 60 in all delivery evaluation categories. The last one I needed to upgrade was surprisingly cargo condition. And so I started doing condition deliveries until I reached level 60 and got the trophy. The last BB related trophy was for soothing BB while they were crying. So I just kept falling over and over again until they started crying, and I soothed BB and got the trophy. Can't be a platinum without some collectibles, so for my next trophy I need to collect every memory chip in the map. There are a total of 56 memory chips, and I already had a couple of them collected, so I just grinded for a couple of hours and got the rest of the memory chips, and then inserted them in the Port Knot City for the trophy. The final trophy was an easy one, and I saved it for last for a reason. All I needed to do was use the music player for the first time. So I headed down to the pirate room and played a song and got the trophy, Soothing Sounds, and the platinum. And that is Death Stranding's platinum trophy. I'm so glad I went back and finished the game and platinum it because it's an unreal experience. So going back and scripting this video made me realize how good the story is in the later chapters. Kojima cooked. But man, the gameplay is actually so addictive. I'm hyped to jump into Death Stranding 2 later this year or whenever. If I had to rate Death Stranding, I'll give it like a 90%, the highest rated game I've played this year. And if I had to rate the platinum, I'll give it an 85%. It was long and tedious to grind, but learning all the features made it so much quicker. Thanks for all the subs, it means the world to me. Got the road to 1,000 subs, I appreciate any and all support. Like, comment, and subscribe, it means the world to me. And that's pretty much it. Later.